What's shaking, ladies and gentlemen? I'm your host, Jason Danger, and we are cruising back to the domicile. And just hit me. It's about 6:30 p.m. because you know it's the p.m. because I don't do the a.m. unless it's from the night before, which is not unheard of. And it occurred to me that I've only eaten twice today. Not a big deal, I guess, but it was really only one time because it was two separate ice creams. What are you gonna do? I guess I should probably get some more sustenance, but you know, live in the DOLCE VITA, baby. Damn, I love some ice cream. Anyway, so I had a little thought nugget for you. I thought I'd share it on the way home, kill some time, change some minds on a day's work and shit. So I got thinking, you know, you hear a lot about age and what age means and all this stuff, and people are obsessed with certain things, or actually I think they fear age, which I guess we all do to a degree, but everyone knows somebody who's I don't know, let's say 60s, 50s, 60s, 70s, where society might deem them old, right? Old. And maybe physically they are, although I find people who stay mentally young tend to be physically young also. But you don't think of them as having age. Maybe you have a friend or a coworker or an acquaintance that's like, you know, they're older in years, but they also should be, if they've lived an interesting life, they should be very wise and interesting and having compelling conversations and telling you interesting stories and giving you little, you know, sweet tidbits of advice that are really helpful. So everyone knows someone like that, and the reason why I think you don't associate an age with them is because they're still participating in life. And I think the key word is specifically, hottie. Sorry, we have a hottie break. All right, back on. They're participating in life, and they're curious. The key word is curious. They're curious. They're passionate. They want to keep evolving as a person, and they don't, you know, it's like, you know, somebody who's 19 years old, you know, conversely, there's somebody who's 19 years old, 25 years old, 30 years old, 40, whatever, still young, but they might as well be 105 years old as far as you're concerned, because they're not participating. They're kind of settling. Like, instead of living, I say, I don't want to exist, I want to live. There's a big difference. A lot of us just sort of exist, you know, just kind of settle for whatever's going on. Yeah, okay, it's cool. They're not passionate about anything. They're not curious, right? They're not doing anything interesting. Therefore, they're not interesting because they're not looking to do anything where they're learning or challenging themselves. And I think a lot of that is a risk aversion. They're aversion. They're risk adverse. Well, I said that right. But they're risk adverse, and then they don't want to take calculated chances, or they're uncomfortable, or whatever the case may be. I'm sure that varies from person to person, but the point is that curiosity is missing. And then so I always think about that when I think of like, for me personally, I don't care how old anybody is if they're an interesting conversation. We're dating, by the way, so it's like, I've always said beauty has no age. If you're sexy, intelligent, great conversationalist, and gorgeous, what the hell difference does it make how old you are? You know, as long as you don't land me in jail. Right? Right? I mean, does that sound bad? I don't know, just being honest. I mean, you know, and you know, if it's, let's say they're a great cook and great dancer, loves to travel, you know, beautiful, healthy hair. Did I mention great conversationalist? Loves to have a good time. Positive, enthusiastic, passionate. Wants to contribute. Am I asking too much? I like sweet too. Sweet? That's not asking too much, is it? Point is that my train of thought derailed. Now what are you gonna do? So I always think of two stories, or two people, and I have a lot of different experience with really interesting people like this. But damn, another hottie. I think she sells weed. Anyway, point is, there are a lot of people out there that have a lot of really interesting experiences and a lot of wisdom, but we don't really seem to value that in our society that much, which to me is a shame. You know, it seems like we value loud, obnoxious, and pretty damn stupid. But we don't, like, now, whatever. I'm not going to get into that. Point is, there's a guy, I'll never forget this. I was in college, and it was a really big school, both geographically and the student body was also large in population. And I would go to this class, and this particular class was a huge theater room because, again, it would have to accommodate like 200 or 300 students, no shit. And really, really big theater room where there's a lot of stairs, and you'd have to come in. So there was always this, every day at school, there was this African-American gentleman, and he would wear his cool little, like, fedora, as I recall. He had his cane, and he would, leisurely, carefully, deliberately walk down the stairs, each individual stair, to go all the way down so he could be close to the professor so he could, hear the class. But I always used to admire that guy so much because I was like, here's a guy who's 90-some years old, right? And he was literally 90-some years old. And this guy is still participating in life. He's still learning. He's still adding layers. And he would come down there every day in that class. And I was like, that's who you want to be like. I mean, that guy was still doing it. And it's that curiosity. And that's that, I don't know. I just found him to be really compelling. And I'm ashamed to say I didn't have really any long conversations with him because it was a big class. Never got really a chance to talk to him other than like a passing hello. And then there's another story that I always tell when people like to say, sorry, I'm running out of light here, gotta pull in. I always like to bring up when they say, I find it to be ignorant, defeatist sort of commentary about, I'm gonna get married because I want to settle sort of language. For example, so why are you getting married? Why are you settling down? What makes this girl? Well, I don't want to be the old guy at the bar. What kind of nonsense is that? Right? Seriously, that's your best reason to do that? Oh, sorry, it's getting dark. So, trying to make it a little romantic or creepy, depending on how you look at it. So I always give this story. So there's. When I was a kid, I used to go down to South Carolina quite a bit to the beach, and I would go to a lot of the same bars every time. So every year I'd go down there at least, and there was one or two particular bars I would go to a lot, and there was always this guy dancing. And I don't know, he was probably late 60s, early 70s is my guess. And I seen this guy probably 2 or 3 different trips. And he was always dancing like up on a platform. And I'm not talking like he was embarrassing or making an ass out of himself. I'm talking the dude could dance. And I mean, he had more energy than any 20-year-old in there. I mean, he was except for me, but he was rolling. I love this guy, and I did talk to him a couple times. But he would he would have women, attractive women, who weren't being condescending or making fun of him or mocking him in any way. They were truly dancing with the guy, and you could tell they didn't really know him. They probably met him that night, and they were just having a blast with the guy. And it's like, you see, it doesn't freaking matter. It's about your attitude and so it's like coming back to age again. It's all about, obviously you want to stay physically healthy, clearly, because if you don't have that, you don't got anything. But I always find it's really mentality and that curiosity and that passion and that desire to evolve and be better, and take the wisdom that older people have and value that. Like when I was a kid, I used to, and I'm still this way. Older people I am captivated by because they have so many stories, and I know very few people like this. When I was growing up, I didn't know a whole lot of young people that valued older experience as much as I did. I would just sit there and listen and just pick up these great nuggets of advice, and just listen to their wisdom. It's just compelling to me, and I don't see a whole lot of that in our society now. It's kind of a shame. But anyway, point is, is that, want to kill some time on the ride home, and had a little thought nugget for you. So there you have it. Until next time, Jason Danger out, baby.